Imagine stepping into the cold stone halls of a medieval castle. The air is dense with the smell of burning torches, sweat, and the faint tang of horses. Your armor presses heavily against your body, every strap digging into your shoulders, and your sword hangs awkwardly at your side. You take a step, and the stone floor echoes beneath your boots, reminding you that every move is deliberate, cautious, and necessary. Knights were more than warriors. They were bound by an unyielding code of duty, honor, and survival. Each day demanded courage, vigilance, and physical endurance. One day could mark glory, another could mark death. Walking these halls, every stone, every banner, every echo of metal whispers stories of past battles, betrayals, alliances, and victories. A young squire glances nervously at his companion in the courtyard. "Do you think I can make it through the day?" "Even pause for a second, and the master will make sure you regret it," his friend answers grimly. The air between them is thick with tension, fear, and anticipation, as heavy as the armor they wear. Every shadow in the hall seems alive. Flickers of torchlight reveal tapestries depicting heroic feats, shields etched with heraldic symbols, and portraits of knights who have long since passed. Even the faint clang of metal in the distance carries warnings of the trials ahead. The castle itself feels like a living, breathing entity, testing every new arrival. You walk deeper, noticing the uneven floor and narrow corridors. Each turn could conceal danger, whether in the form of a training mishap, a sudden scolding, or simply the strain of carrying heavy armor. Already, you feel your body tensing, bracing for what comes next. The castle stirs before the sun rises. Bells toll across the courtyard. Servants scurry to open gates and prepare stables, and the metallic clang of armor echoes off the stone walls. You awaken stiff, muscles screaming from yesterday's drills, your back aching from lying on a straw mattress. Every movement is deliberate and slow. Even sitting up requires effort. Putting on armor is a meticulous ritual. Leather straps bite into your skin, metal plates scrape against tender muscles, and the helmet shifts awkwardly over your head, muffling sound and narrowing vision. You take a deep, steadying breath. Pain is constant. Yet it becomes a companion, shaping your focus and preparing your mind for survival. Breakfast is austere. Dry, hard bread, a small piece of salted meat, and watered-down ale. Water is scarce, sometimes drawn from a moat or a communal basin. Hygiene is a distant luxury. You swallow the water carefully, feeling every grain of grit. The courtyard awaits. Rain falls in cold sheets, soaking your boots and splashing mud onto your leggings. The instructor's voice cuts through the storm. "Faster! Strike harder! Do not falter!" Sparring begins. Swords clash with sparks, bruises bloom like badges of honor, and every movement is monitored for precision. One squire slips, falling into mud and grit. He rises quickly, ignoring the sting, demonstrating that in this world, hesitation is dangerous. Every detail is critical. The angle of your sword, the pivot of your feet, the alignment of your shield. Fatigue comes swiftly, yet focus must never waver. Pain and exhaustion are relentless, but they sharpen resolve, teaching that survival is as much mental as physical. Between drills, you observe your companions. Faces glistening with sweat, armor scuffed and dented, eyes burning with determination. Conversations are scarce. Most are whispers of encouragement or fleeting curses, Even laughter is rare, reserved for moments of shared understanding after a successful maneuver. By mid-morning, muscles burning, every nerve alert, you realize that each breath, each step, is a choice between endurance and collapse. The castle is alive with sound, distant hammering from blacksmiths, neighing horses, the occasional shout from a lord passing through. Every sensory input reminds you that danger, discipline, and duty are inseparable. Training now shifts to labor. Heavy logs must be moved for repairs. Armor must be polished and maintained. Stables require cleaning and horses feeding. The walls of the castle demand constant vigilance. Even minor injuries, a cut, scrape, or bruise, can become fatal if left unattended. Medicine is rudimentary at best. Herbs, poultices, and prayers are the only aid available. A knight scratches his arm while tending the stables. Another whispers, "That wound needs attention." "A little dirt won't kill you," comes the reply, "but laziness might." Lunch is minimal. Stale bread, a small piece of dried meat, and perhaps a slice of cheese, tinged with mold. Each bite is a calculated risk. Each sip of water, a test of patience and endurance. Hunger gnaws relentlessly, yet weakness is far more dangerous. The weight of armor, combined with an empty stomach, tests every sinew. Even mundane tasks are dangerous. Slipping in mud, mishandling tools, or misplacing a weapon could prove fatal. The smallest error can spiral into injury or death. Every action is deliberate, every breath measured. Survival is earned moment by moment, and the castle offers no forgiveness. Throughout the courtyard, life moves in relentless rhythm. Blacksmiths hammer, squires scrub, archers practice their aim. Shadows shift constantly, and the distant sound of water dripping from roofs or rain pattering on stone reminds you of the cold, hard environment in which you exist. You begin to notice how the mind adapts. Eyes scan constantly, muscles anticipate sudden movement, reflexes sharpen in a blend of fear and routine. Endurance here is holistic. Every aspect of your being is tested simultaneously. The afternoon is dedicated to advanced combat training. You practice with swords, axes, and lances, each weapon requiring a unique balance of strength, precision, and timing. The master demonstrates maneuvers with exacting skill, each swing a lesson in both offense and defense. A single misstep could mean humiliation, or worse, injury. Occasionally, tournaments occur within castle grounds or open fields nearby. These contests are not entertainment. They are trials of skill, courage, and honor. The crowd cheers as horses thunder across the field, lances splinter, and swords collide. Every movement carries risk. One false step can turn triumph into tragedy. A young knight hesitates in a joust, his horse rearing violently. He falls hard, mud and dirt coating his armor. The master's booming voice cuts through the chaos. "Courage alone is not enough. Focus." The knight rises, determination etched across his face, and readies himself for the next charge. Every swing of a sword, every thrust of a spear, is a lesson in endurance. Pain, fear, and determination collide in a rhythm that shapes a warrior's life. Even minor victories, blocking an attack, landing a precise strike, are quietly celebrated among comrades. Between bouts, knights inspect each other's armor, offer brief advice, or share a nod of acknowledgement. Laughter is scarce but treasured, a fleeting reprieve from the day's relentless demands. Even as evening approaches, life within the castle continues. Knights visit the chapel, offering prayers for strength, survival, and success. Religion is intertwined with every action. Divine favor can tip the balance between life and death. Social hierarchies govern behavior. Knights answer to lords, serve their ladies, and oversee peasants. Reputation, honor, and loyalty are paramount. A single misstep could bring shame or worse. Yet within the quiet corners, moments of levity emerge. Dice games, hushed laughter, whispered conversations. These are precious respites from the constant demands of training and labor. A small smile becomes a treasure amid hardship. A knight kneels at the altar. Grant me strength. Grant me survival. Grant me honor. A lord enters. Report on the patrols. Did anyone approach the walls? None, my lord. All is quiet. For now, comes the measured reply. These moments remind you that even in a life dominated by struggle, human connection and ritual provide grounding. Nightfall brings heightened danger. Raiders, rival lords, or domestic disputes could strike without warning. Knights patrol the walls, armor clanking, swords poised. Fatigue weighs on every muscle. Hunger gnaws relentlessly, and fear hovers at the edges of consciousness. A guard spots movement in the shadows, heart pounding. Who goes there? Show yourself. A stray dog darts past, and tension eases slightly, only to return moments later. Every noise, every shadow is a potential threat. Vigilance is constant. Even small distractions. A misplaced sword, a slip on wet stone, could prove fatal. Hunger, cold, and exhaustion are relentless companions, shaping every second of the night. Mental acuity is as vital as physical strength, and the line between alertness and collapse is razor thin. Sleep is brief, uncomfortable, and shallow. You lie on a straw mattress or wooden bench, armor removed but muscles still aching. The castle hums with nocturnal life. Doors creak, animals stir, distant voices echo. In these hours, nights reflect on the day. Training, labor, victories, mistakes. I survived today, but how many more? They contemplate the fragility of life, the weight of honor, and the demands of survival. Quiet moments allow reflection on courage, loyalty, and perseverance. Even exhaustion cannot silence the mind. Thoughts of strategy, skill, and duty weave into dreams, ensuring the warrior remains prepared for the next day. Surviving 24 hours as a medieval knight was no fantasy. It was endurance, perpetual danger, and the relentless testing of body and mind. Modern comforts, soft beds, clean water, plentiful food, seem miraculous to those who walked these stone halls. Yet brutality forged strength, discipline, and honor. Each day demanded courage, vigilance, and resilience. Sunrise brought trials. Nightfall offered fleeting rest. Life was fragile, yet every moment honed the mind, body, and spirit. As dawn returns, the castle awakens again. Torches flicker, swords clash, horses neigh, and training resumes. The cycle of endurance begins anew, shaping men into warriors capable of surviving, fighting, and leading in a world where danger is ever present. Life as a knight was never solitary. You lived among brothers in arms, men who could be your allies one moment and your rivals the next. Around the fire at night, knights in training would exchange stories of past battles, speak of legendary heroes, or joke crudely about nobles and peasants. Yet, behind every laugh lingered tension. That very same comrade might one day face you in a tournament field, lance aimed at your chest, or stand at your side in real battle, protecting your flank. Trust was both essential and fragile. Friendships were forged through shared hardship, sweat, and scars. But ambition often drove wedges between even the closest of brothers. To survive in such a world, you needed loyalty, but you could never afford to be naive. Knighthood wasn't only about swords and armor. It was about honor, or at least the appearance of it. The code of chivalry dictated how knights behaved in war and in peace. Defend the weak, honor your lord, protect women, serve God. But the truth was more complex. Many knights lived far from these ideals. Some exploited peasants, raided villages, or fought only for gold. Yet, society expected you to embody the knightly virtues. Every action was weighed. Was it noble, or was it shameful? For a young knight, this code could be both inspiring and suffocating. Fail to live up to it, and you could be mocked or dishonored. Uphold it too strictly, and you might not survive the brutal politics of the medieval world. To truly understand a knight's place, imagine how the peasants saw you. To them, you were both protector and oppressor. Your shining armor symbolized strength, but also the crushing weight of feudal power. When raiders came, the knight was salvation. But during tax collection, or when labor was demanded for castle repairs, the knight was a figure of fear. Peasants bowed, not out of admiration, but out of necessity. And while knights dined on meat and bread within castle walls, peasants starved in the fields. To survive one day in their shoes was as harsh as living in armor. But knights rarely considered this. No part of a knight's life was untouched by war. Swords, axes, maces, lances, each weapon had its role. Armor evolved from chainmail to heavy plate, and every piece added both protection and unbearable weight. The battlefield was chaos. Horses screamed, arrows rained from the sky, mud swallowed the fallen. You could train for years, but nothing prepared you for the smell of blood, the terror of a charging cavalry, or the sudden silence of a comrade cut down beside you. Victory was survival, and survival was luck. In war, even the strongest knight could be ended by a single arrow. Faith was the heartbeat of medieval life. Every knight swore loyalty not just to a lord, but to God. Monks blessed swords before battles, and priests preached that dying in holy service could mean salvation. But faith was also fear. Hellfire sermons painted terrifying pictures of eternal damnation for the sinful. Disease, famine, and war were often seen as God's punishment. A knight lived not only with physical danger, but also with the heavy weight of spiritual dread. Every battle prayer was whispered with trembling lips. Lord, spare my soul if my body falls. Amidst the brutality, knights longed for love and legacy. Courtly romance, poetic idealized love for a lady, was often more fantasy than reality, but it gave purpose beyond endless fighting. A knight's greatest desire was not merely wealth, but remembrance. To carve his name into history, to be sung of in ballads, to have children who would inherit both his sword and his honor. But for every knight remembered in song, hundreds died nameless, buried in shallow graves, their stories forgotten by dawn. As the night draws near, you feel the true weight of living just one day as a medieval knight. Your body aches under iron. Your stomach knots from hunger. Your mind battles fear, fear of failure, fear of dishonor, fear of death. And yet this was the life that shaped Europe's history. The knight was more than a warrior. He was a symbol of survival, ambition, and endurance. To live even 24 hours in his world was to understand that strength wasn't about shining armor. It was about enduring suffering, upholding duty, and facing death every single day.